Hello, hello, hello. I hope you all are doing amazing. It's Margo Mastery, your heartfelt CFO. I don't know about you guys, but this heat has been a killer. And just keep drinking my water. As much lotion as I've been putting on, I'm still getting a little bit burnt. I hope you all are keeping your electrolytes happening and putting on your lotion with being just technically so white. Sometimes all of this just doesn't even still work. Whether you are live or on the replay, please feel free to let me know how you all are doing. Let me know what's going on in business. Lately, I'm feeling a lot of people wanting to take more time off, and there's still a lot of nerves. But at the same time, even though that there's nerves, they're taking the time off, but there's still a lot of concerns. So I'm going to jump into today's talk where we are talking about the secret to business growth. In case you don't know me, I'm Margo Mastery, your Heartfelt CFO, and I am the owner and founder of Heartfelt CFO and Tax Services, and I help real estate professional service-based business owners around business, tax, and all of the in between. So let's jump into today's topic, which is having quarterly financial reviews. How powerful can that be? Now, when we have proactive planning versus throwing spaghetti against the wall, it is such a different way of living life that I cannot tell you is life changing. I do it for me anytime there's like a new goal that I'd like to do, and it just works time and time again. So let's jump in. I'm known as the financial interpreter, the business therapist, and the strategy whisperer, not your typical accountant. I help thousands of entrepreneurs gain control of their numbers and financial confidence to basically accomplish whatever they want. I'm known as the number one CFO, and I'm also the powerhouse creator of a video platform that's called the Ultimate Business Resource, giving you the tools around business, tax, and all of the in between. And I'm continuing to be on my mission to rewrite how small businesses handle money and make decisions without being overwhelmed. What I want to start by explaining is that businesses can't run on hope. They need to run on data. And when there's not clarity on where the money is going, chances are we're going to hope. But if we have the data, we can. What happens is you get surprise tax bills, reactive decisions, and chaotic cash flow. Now, when you plan to do something and things work out, it's all great. But literally right before this, I found out something that we planned around, and what we planned around may not happen. Now, I reacted because what the situation was bringing us is a lot of different financial circumstances to have to possibly deal with. And when these situations happen, we automatically feel inside ourselves if something is wrong or we did something bad or we should have done something better. But usually these processes are meant to meet us where we're at so that we know where we need to go on those next steps. And that's really the magic wand. So what is the power of quarterly financial reviews and what is involved? There's spot trends, previous profit leaks, adjust the strategy, and improve decision making. Now, because you have this, you get to see front and center what's going on. Now, I have a good few clients right now who are struggling in the 24 tax return route because they're always been on delaying their tax returns. They've always been relying on the extensions. And then all the people around them are too. So anyone that's supposed to get a K1, there's like a lot of like groups around this delay. And the profit leaks that you really want to avoid in this type of trend, it's getting harder and harder because the more you delay it, you're trying to really close like the year before, when the current time is you really see that it's suffering. So you want to improve the decision making while certain things are still on hold. Think of it as a project punch list for your finances done 4 times a year. So just like in a project, right? You would sign off on like the windows, and then you would have like your estimator, your like all these different layers of the contractor, right? And you would, not before you give the client the project or the investors, right? You check off your list or your hypothetical list in your house. And it's the same thing for your finances. You see, the book, sometimes even like the simple things like a book balance versus the cash balance, or book balance versus the bank balance, like those types of things matter of what's in transit, because it really takes a toll on what the cash is. Now, let's say somebody didn't cash their check, and you gave it to them, but you still need to count that cash as gone because the cash needs to be available. You can't keep relying on income. If you do, this is where you get in trouble. So when you do this the 4 times a year, what happens is that you get to really see in real time where you need to go or where you need to reroute your energy. So what you'll learn today is the 5 numbers that you must track each quarter. How to catch small issues before they become big losses, real client examples of quarterly reviews, breakthroughs, how to make your books a growth tool, not a tax chore. That's my favorite one. And what to bring and what not to bring to your next review. So let's dive in. The numbers that every real estate pro should track. The first one is the net profit margin. Are you truly making money after all of the costs? Or are you just covering the costs and then you're worrying about yourself later? You see, myself running as a tax firm, lots of times I get on extension and I worry about myself later. But it's the same idea, like when you get onto the airplane, the most famous example is that when you don't put your own oxygen mask on yourself, then you can't do it for anybody else. So what I want to share here is that when you get to look at things ahead of time, it gives you a chance to digest this all. And digesting this all really matters on where you're going to go and how you're spending the time. It's not really like choking it up and hoping that it was going to work like we talked about at the beginning. Most businesses run on hope and not data. We don't want to run on hope. We want to run on data. Okay, let's get back. The next one is cash flow. What's coming in versus what's going out. Now, if you have somebody else doing this for you, great. The question is also how often are you tuning into this? You can have a bookkeeper and they're sending you reports, but you're not really in tune with the process. I find a lot of clients on their CFO side, even if they have bookkeeping, they're not really connecting to what's really happening. They're making it somebody else's responsibility versus they're really responsible. Receivables and payables aging. Who owes you and what do you owe? Are you behind? Are you current? Is what's behind or what's current owed for you? Like, how is that all happening? We have a lot of clients where we experience that the receivables are behind, and there's always good reasons why. I hear from the clients of why. But what I will say is that you can't then be upset when your accounts payable is behind, because if you're giving excuses for clients to not pay you on why, or if your terms are not strong, if they're weak, then your payables is going to be behind, and then you're not going to get paid. It can't be because of this happened, right? All of those floating circumstances will always change. But if you don't get at least your basic food, clothing, and shelter covered, where decent salaries are being paid out across these, you're going to get in trouble. And I see it time and time again. Also looking at the budget versus actual. Are you targeting or are you off track? No big deal if you're off track, because now you're doing it 4 times a year. You get back on the train. Project ROI. What's actually profitable and what's actually draining you? Most of the time, it's the drain that people don't really pay attention to. They just think they're tired, and that's a norm. And I'm going to tell you a story. The past few weeks, I have to tell you, I've been truly exhausted. And I realized over the past 6 to 8 months, the journey that I've been on, I moved from another state. within our firm. We've been launching a lot of products. We've been up-leveling a lot of things because we had the tax season and then we had extension season. We upgraded our process for tax returns. We had a lot of difficult client situations, some team members getting sick. There was like a lot of things going on. And my body just needed time to like catch up. So think about that, where that is happening. Now, even though I do these meetings for myself, I attend them with our staff. Why? Because they hold me accountable for myself. And when I did my tax returns for myself this year, which was 24, I'll be honest, I was thankful for our process. And I'll tell you why. Because seeing what they thought was progress, for me, was a big deal. Because I saw where my progress was going for myself and my whole overall wealth development. And I want that for you. And I had my first time in New Jersey this year, and it's a huge difference. And I was so used to being beat up from the New York taxes that now I get to benefit and now use that benefit in another way because I have tax planning and I get to see with a great tax team that knows the tax law to my advantage. In addition to what I know, because when you put a bunch of minds together, what happens is there's so much to gain. So let's spot the leaks early. Missed deductions, uncollected income, overspending on untracked costs. This was a huge one, untracked costs. It's so big. I see it just too much. It's almost like in our discovery calls, I'm like, are you tracking your costs? Like something so basic to me is not basic to clients in this field, even though you want it to happen. Duplicate payments. Oh my God, when we see this, our heart bleeds because lots of times the cash flow can get tight. And even if there's flow, double payments, and if people are not saying what happened, you know what happens then? You start to distrust and very easily see things start to deteriorate. And then you almost feel like your back is against the wall because you're pushed to keep a situation that you really didn't want to. One investor recovered $12,000 just by recurring overcharges in the quarterly review. It was really, really cool to watch this. And what he did with the $12,000 was that he was able to actually finally put himself at ease at his own salary and needs and expenses, because he was one of the legacy type clients that I call, who was just doing by default things and lots of times not really taking care of himself, or just doing it when it was needed, or like when it was like the alerts would come up. And there's no harm in that. But what happens is that it just gives you this panic that you're used to working from, where we can slowly increment different things to benefit. So let me ask you a question. How cool would it be to have another $12,000 in your pocket if you could do this meeting with me? Would that be worth your time? Real changes after quarterly reviews. Developers start tracking their job costs and it increases profit at least 18%, if not more. The brokerage cut low ROI marketing spend and reallocated towards higher converting lead generation because they wanted to do more Google ads. Property managers began forecasting cash flow and avoiding debt during maintenance season. It was really, really cool. And maintenance, even lots of times when that debt was starting to accrue and seeing that shift, it was freaking huge. These are some, but not limited. And this gets your mind thinking and all the juices of what could happen. And I'm curious, what is your thinking of what could happen is if you had a quarterly review, if somebody's telling you like to look at the things and make these shifts, right? Turn your books into a growth tool. Without reviews, your books are backward looking, and with reviews, your books become a compass, right? Think about that. When it becomes a compass, it's like your gauge of your clues and your keys to your next steps. It's the best. Turn your books into a growth tool, informed decisions, confident planning, controlled growth. It's not just accounting, it's accountability. What to bring to a quarterly review: your financials, open invoices, notes on upcoming projects or big expenses. Sometimes clients come with nothing and we just have a great conversation and we get a lot done too. But if you had actual stuff, there's a lot of things that we can see too. So there's so much to play with so that you can benefit from this. Leave out the guesswork. and the emotional decision making and avoid what's not working. And I want to tell you a story. Actually, not a story. I want to point out something. If you're making a decision from lack versus a stable, grounded decision of confident numbers, it doesn't work. Think about the pattern of things that repeat over and over. How are you making those decisions? Are you making them from a place of knowing, or are you making them from a place of guessing? I want you to make sure to comment here and let me know that, or reply to our email and let us know that, because how you're making those decisions of what mind and what intuition and what decision making process is the biggest impact of this part. If you want a peace of mind and predict growth and higher profit margins, or just to work together on growth, forget about predictability. Maybe you're not into predictability. You're like, in for the ride and you want to see how it's going. You can't afford to skip these reviews. They're really, really rewarding. So this is your business blueprint, and don't build blind. And I want to talk strategy with you. Build your financial clarity session and let's do it together. I'm offering some complimentary sessions around this, and let's find the money that's hiding in your business together so that we can give you more money in your pocket. You could be more profitable and really just gain without doing more. And when I share this process with clients, I have so many stories around it. It's really just transformative for the simple reason you get more with doing less. And then the process speaks volumes more and more. So feel free to reach out by phone. You can also text or WhatsApp this. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put my calendar link here. I cannot wait to talk to you more, and I cannot wait to hear your messages around this. I hope you enjoyed today's live. As always, any questions, let me know. And I look forward to seeing you on the call together and for our weekly live sessions today, like today. Talk soon.